are we having a crisis at the midfield? Are the injuries that you have faced and the red card that Declan Rice got putting us on a crisis? The other question is, did we underscore on the signing? Are we even ready to carry the EPL this season? Our captain Odegaard, he got an ankle injury. He landed very heavily on his foot. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode, and of course I go by the name Mr. Joe, and on this episode, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to focus on a couple of issues. Now, the question that has been running throughout Arsenal fans, every Arsenal supporter worldwide, is, are we having a crisis at the midfield? Are the injuries that you have faced and the red card that Declan Rice got putting us on a crisis? The other question is, did we underscore on the signing? Are we even ready to carry the EPL this season? These are some of the questions that I want to try and tackle and see how far where we are. Right about now, our next three fixtures are fixtures that are going to determine if we are in it for this season, if we are serious for this coming season, or it's gonna be another season that is just gonna go away like what went through for us last season. Now, our captain Odegaard, he was playing a match yesterday. Norway was facing, I've forgotten the team they were facing, but of course he got an ankle injury. He landed very heavily on his foot. All the weight was on his foot because both of the players that were going for the ball, and so coming down, he landed on his foot, on the ankle, and all the weight was on the ankle, so he got an injury. And there's even pictures showing Odegaard being flown out of Norway to come to England to be able to even do further tests on the leg and see if he's gonna play, how bad he is he gonna play, how worse is the injury, is it an easy injury? So it's a complicated situation, and out of this complicated situation that we are in right now, especially from our captain, we don't know if he will play. Chances are he might not play. And if he doesn't play, is it going to be few days? Is it going to be a few weeks, or is it going to be months, or even the whole season? Because ankle injuries are not the easiest injuries. The least you could get, maybe it's maybe a couple of weeks, maybe 4 or 5 weeks. But again, you don't know but again, we don't know the intensity of that injury. So it's upon us to just wait and see what the medics are gonna say about the injury that Odegaard faced. But again, assume he doesn't play on the game against Tottenham. This is a North London derby, and you know very well this is a game that comes in with a lot of point proving and lots and lots of competition between these two teams. These are two teams from England and North London, I mean. So this is a competition that who is the king of London? Who are the kings of North London? Who are the kings? So if Odegaard is not playing, who then is supposed to play on that number where Odegaard plays? These are some of the questions that we ask ourselves. Do you then decide that you start with on the midfield, you start with Thomas Partey, you also play Jorginho, and maybe play Saka at number 10, and then on the wing you put Sterling? Or who do you think that you're gonna put on that midfield to cover in for Odegaard? Even before you think that we had a problem on Declan Rice, who, by the way, that red card was still debatable. That second yellow card is still very debatable, because the ball was still rolling, which means even if he was to take the foul was not going to be allowed, because the ball was still rolling. Rules are always rules. But anyway, Let's not deviate. Declan Rice is not playing. So do you start with Partey, Jorginho, and then of course now we have created another problem. You have got another problem now. Who do you play on Odegaard's number? So these are some of the crises that you are facing as Arsenal. Because Merino, if Merino was okay, if it were not for the injury that he is facing right now, and that is an injury that is unavoidable, you cannot say that is a bad signing. No, he is a good signing. It's an injury. They say that Megales landed on him on the shoulder, and of course he got the injury, the shoulder injury, which is going to take him a couple of months, maybe 2, or a couple of weeks, maybe 6 to 7 weeks or 8. So how do you then play and get to win your next game against Tottenham? And just before you even think about Tottenham, Atalanta is coming on the Champions League, and Man City is coming. You're also playing against Man City. So these are 3 games that are very crucial, very hard to play. And these are the games that are going to determine. And I keep on telling people that if Arteta is able to go through this crisis that is we are in right now, the midfield crisis, because I feel like it's a crisis. We've not been in this position for a couple of years, where our players are injured, a couple of them. Remember last season we got lucky. Not most of our players got injured, and if they were injured, it was not that long-term injury. Apart from Timber and Partey, who their injuries of course took some time. So then, who do you play as Arteta? Do you go? How do you get out of this crisis? How do you emerge victorious out of the crisis? And the question is this: will he emerge victorious? This is the right time when Arteta needs to prove that he is the man for that job, that he has a plan for Arsenal, that he is a top-notch coach, and a top highly rated coach, a coach that everybody should be looking up to. This is the time for him to prove. If we can, for instance, beat Tottenham, and then of course get a draw or win against Atlanta, get a draw or win against Man City, then for me that one is a win for Arteta and for Arsenal at large. Are we able to do that? Time will tell. How is Arteta going to now reorganize the squad? Remember last season, every time Arteta tried to maybe give in, reorganize the squad and bring more players, different players, we kept on struggling on those matches, because he had his first 11, yes, but when he tried to like mix the squad, that is why we got out of the League Cup, we got out of the FA, even out of the Champions League, because of trying to mix the squad. So does this survive on this crisis that he's facing right now by mixing the squad and walk out of this victorious? And remember, right now everybody would be saying, you know, injuries are injuries and they happen to clubs. But the question that every Arsenal fan is asking themselves, Arteta had a chance, an opportunity to buy more players on the transfer window, but he released more players rather than buying more players. Why is every Arsenal player putting more hit on Arteta on this, especially this injury of Odegaard and the midfield, the problem in the midfield? It's because everybody was expecting, because Arteta decided, with Edu of course, decided to let go of Vieira on loan and let go of Smith Rowe, sold him. But did he replace anybody that is going to play that role? Of course, maybe people will argue and say Mourinho. Yes, but Mourinho is injured. So who replaces Odegaard in the instance that Odegaard gets injured? These are tough questions that Arteta is going to face in the next couple of days if Odegaard is injured. So these are things that questions that are running throughout every Arsenal supporter and every fan. And I really hope that we survive this through. I really hope so. Now, let's take a look at the instances that are gonna be showcasing themselves on these few coming matches. Assume It begins with on this game for Tottenham. We've said it before that say Partey or Partey, Jorginho and Saka at number 10, and then Sterling at number on the right wing. Then maybe we survive that one. What about Manchester City? How do you then start when Declan Rice is back? Do you play with Declan Rice, Partey, or Declan Rice and Jorginho, and then of course you get another number 10? These are some of the things that Arteta should be asking himself right now, and should be having answers on how he's going to do it if we were to remain competitive. Remember, we underscored, and it's a fact, we actually underscored on the transfer period. We didn't get even a striker. If we had a striker, then it would have been easy right now to just bring in and try and bring either Havertz to come in and play at number 8 or number 10. And basically maybe number 10, because now we're having a crisis at number 10. But again, do we have a striker that can play at that role at number 9? Where is Jesus? Jesus is injured. When will the injury end? We are not certain. They're saying a couple of days or weeks, but when will it end? So this is a crisis that you are facing that you've not been facing for a couple of years. These injuries. Now you ask yourself now, we've had Partey that has been injured a couple of seasons for us. Will he survive this season without injury? Will we survive without having any more injury and get to hope that all these our players are healed, they are good and come back and play for us? These are tough questions that we're going to ask ourselves and even ask the manager. But I will tell you this for a fact. This season we ought to be very serious on every cup that we are playing. If we are playing on the League Cup, we need to play like we want to carry the cup, and of course go and carry. Because this season, I feel like last season Arteta decided to let go of the League Cup and the FA and focus on maybe the Premier League and the Champions League, which we ended up not carrying no cup. So are we going to focus on making sure that we are focusing on these cups and get to win, even if it's the FA or the League Cup? Of course, this is not our ultimate goal. Our ultimate goal is either the Premier League or the Champions League that we have never won. But still, do you go with something home? People will argue and tell you, you know what, Mr. Joe, you know, we have even won the FA before and finished at number 4. You know, it's still not a result that you wanna argue and say that is the best result that you can come across, because, and they will argue and say, you know, Mr. Joe, we've won this cup, like the FA, we are the people with the most cups, so it really does not give us that sense of pride as compared to if you were to win the the Premier League and the Champions League. And I would agree with them. Right now we need that Champions League or the EPL so that we can have our bragging rights back. But is our squad ready? Do we have the mentality of winning? Some people will say, you know what, even Man City never signed crucial any player, and they let go of Alvarez. But this is Man City. How many goals have they scored even before, after playing 3 matches on this new season? The goals that Haaland has by himself are more than the goals that the entire of Arsenal has. Anyway, I want to ask, do we have a crisis of injuries? Injury crisis. Do we have it? Do you feel like we have it? Will we? Another question is this: will we maneuver throughout these crises? Will we survive? Will we end up and emerge victorious out of this? These are questions that I want to hear from you guys. Talk to me on the comment section there so that we see what your opinion is on this. And we remember, ladies and gentlemen, this episode was fully sponsored by Odegaard. Please remember to download your Odegaard app. Go and place as little as 20 shillings, and you could stand a chance of winning lots and lots of cash from 50,000 all the way to millions and millions of money if you do your predictions right, if you win your bet with Odibets. Thank you so much for watching. See you again on the next episode. This has been Mr. Joe.